Hey BTS friends, how are you? Crazy facts. Home architect Jungkook finally caught. Nothing shakes the global entertainment world more today than the latest news sticking out from behind the luxurious walls of BTS's Jungkook mansion. So far, the public can only guess who is the mastermind behind the magnificent residence that is touted as one of the most iconic properties owned by K-pop idols. But now, a crazy fact has surfaced. The architect who designed Jungkook's house has finally been found out. And even more surprising, the identity of this architect is not just a big name in the design world, but someone who has a very deep emotional connection with Jungkook's personal life. This fact certainly makes the army, the media, even property observers gape in disbelief. Jungkook's multi-billion-won house is not just a physical building, but a symbol of a child's journey through poverty before becoming a global icon. From the outside, the house looks like a modern palace with simple but classy architectural lines, full of personal details that are full of meaning. One can only wonder, who was the architect who managed to capture the essence of Jungkook's life and pour it into a building? The question has always been a state secret, closely guarded by HYB and Jungkook's family. However, the rumors that blew this time really opened the eyes of the world. Exclusive reports from foreign media said that the architect of the Jungkook house was not a foreign figure, nor a name that we often hear in the international architecture world. He is said to be someone who has been close to the Jungkook family for a long time, someone who understands very well how the hard journey of John's family life until finally the golden magne can reach the point now. This fact makes the narrative about the house much more emotional, as it turns out that it was not built solely for luxury, but to pay for Jungkook's old promise to his mother. Yes, the promise that one day he will build a palace, not for himself, but for the mother who has always accompanied him since the most difficult days. Imagine, an idol who is still very young, only in his 20s, is able to buy land, design, and build a palace-class house. Not a few people are insinuating, questioning whether all this is just HYB's imaging project or really the result of Jungkook's sweat. But now, after the architect began to be revealed, the insinuations seem to have reversed course. Because every detail of the house holds a true story about Jungkook, his family, and especially his mother. Starting from the selection of colors, layout, to the design of windows facing the morning sun, all have meaning. And only people who know Jungkook personally can design something so intimate. Another rumor that further heated up the atmosphere was the claim that the architect of this house was not a well-known architectural professional, but someone better known in Jungkook's circle of friends. This crazy fact split netizens. Some consider this a form of Jungkook's honesty, choosing someone who really understands him rather than just a big name. But some consider this controversial, because how could a house of that class be entrusted to an ordinary person? This is precisely where the big surprise arises. Because it turns out, the design of the house is now touted as one of the most unique architectural works in Korea, making many observers do not believe if it is not the result of the hands of world-class professional architects. Even more surprising, reportedly Jungkook had deliberately kept the name of the architect of his house secret all this time for personal reasons. He didn't want to be in the spotlight, let alone harassed by the media. For Jungkook, home is something very personal, not just an exhibition property for the public. But who would have thought? It was precisely this secrecy that provoked an even greater stir. As the leaks began to emerge, the public became even more curious, digging into every detail of the house to find out who the mysterious figure behind the design was. Until finally, an unexpected name came to the surface, and everyone was stunned because they never expected his relationship with Jungkook to be so close. From an emotional point of view, this house is not only a symbol of wealth, but also a symbol of sacrifice. Jungkook, who since the age of 15 has worked hard to support his family, now makes the house a clear proof that all his efforts are not in vain. He once said, "I want my mother to live in a house that makes her feel like a queen." The phrase rang again when the facts about the architect came out. The figure Jungkook trusted to design the house was someone who knew exactly what the phrase meant, someone who could capture Jungkook's love for his mother and pour it out in the form of walls, windows, and a roof In no wonder the public refers to Jungkook's house as Mother's Palace. Every corner seems to tell the story of the journey of a village boy who is now a world star, but still bows his head to make his parents happy. The fact that the architect was eventually discovered only reinforces this narrative. Not by chance, not just a business project, but a real story about love, sacrifice, and the promise of a child. What makes this news even more controversial is the rumor that HYB actually disagrees with Jungkook's choice to keep the identity of this architect a secret. Big companies like HYB certainly want to make the house part of BTS's global image by working with world-famous architects. But Jungkook refused. He insisted that the house was not a corporate project, but rather his personal gift to his family. This fact sparked speculation that there had been tension between Jungkook and HYB. Although in the end the house still stood majestically in accordance with Jungkook's wishes. Increasingly, the story about this house becomes like a drama full of intrigue. There was happiness, there were tears, there was also controversy wrapped around it. The public now continues to wonder, who exactly is the figure of the architect? Is he really close to Jungkook's family? Is it true that HYB had tried to cover up this fact? And more importantly, what does every detail of the house really mean to Jungkook? One thing is for sure, the crazy fact that the architect of Jungkook's house has finally been discovered has changed the way we see this idol. Jungkook is not just a world-class singer, dancer, or performer. He is a boy who keeps his promise, a young man who does not forget his past, and a man who channels his love for his family through a building. The house is now more than just a property. It is a monument to Jungkook's love for his mother, and a reminder to everyone that behind the glitter of the stage, there is a much deeper true story.